Hey, it's Bailey. So I know it's been a little while since I made a video. Sorry, I've been crazy busy, but I'm going to get back to it because I got to tell you guys about all the crazy stuff that I've been working on. So one of our viewers, Black Girl Magic, asked me to talk about door-to-door sales, networking, and marketing. So I'll make 3 different videos about them because I feel like that'd just be the easier way to go. So this one, I'm going to talk about door-to-door sales. So when you're starting a magazine, door-to-door is one of the most powerful tools that you can use to sell your magazine. But the question is how do you do that? So it's so funny that I actually saw this comment, I got to say like 8 months later. So I apologize, please forgive me. But I will tell you how I'm doing it currently and how I've done it in the past. So when I started my very first magazine, I had a very, very hard time getting people to believe in me enough to write a check. And, at the time I wasn't asking for a lot. I was, asking for a few $100s for a full page ad, and they pretty much just told me no. And what ended up happening was I struggled for probably about 3 to 4 editions to get a magazine out because I had like right at the amount of funds that I needed. Then I got to magazine 3 or 4, kind of took off from there. But what I do now, anytime I start a magazine, is I print samples. So here's how this works. I will pull content from the internet. I will have one of my writers write out some content. We'll grab a bunch of images from photographers that are local. We'll just call them up and say, hey, send us some images that you want published in a magazine. And of course, they're happy to oblige, and they send photos over. But what we do with that is we'll take that and put that into this sample magazine, and we'll fully produce the entire magazine. We get the graphic design, and here's the great thing. We take a very long time to do it because we want it to be perfect. Once we do that, we'll call up, we'll not call, but we'll send a message to some of our printers in China and say, hey, we want to print 10 copies of this magazine, 25 copies, 50 copies of this magazine. And it'll cost a couple $100. But once we have that, we get the magazine back, and it's very high quality. Now, it doesn't matter if you're doing a digital magazine or print magazine. You can use this technique either way. The biggest thing that advertisers want to see is that you actually are going to do it. So if you say, hey, listen, this is a magazine that we just put out. This is a sample, but we just created it. We went through the entire process. They will be like, wow, you went through a lot of work to put out a sample. But then here's the great thing about it. They get to interact with your product. If it's digital, put it on an iPad or a really high quality tablet. Don't go in there with your computer or a laptop. If you have the capability to buy an iPad or something like that, go to a pawn shop and buy one. Spend a little bit of money to get that, because I promise you, the presentation is everything, and it makes a major difference in what you're doing. If you're going to print it, search in China. Now, a lot of people ask, where do you find printers in China and all this kind of stuff? I'll tell you what, shoot me an email, Bailey@howtogrowamagazine.com, and I'll share some of my printers with you in China. I have no problem doing that at all. I'm not going to charge you anything for it. Now, if you don't want to go that route, you can go on Alibaba.com and search through different printers there. It's going to take you a little while, but you can find a good one and get a sample made. Once you have the sample made, going door to door is just about consistency. You got to knock on doors. You got to go into people's businesses and interrupt their day. But here's the thing. If you're putting this out and you spent the money on these samples, you're committed. You're really serious about getting this done. So take the time and just build out a leads list. Take 30 people a day. If you can get to that many, take 30 a day and go in their business and say, hey, do you got 5 minutes for me to tell you about this magazine we're about to produce? And people will say, yeah, let's talk, or no, now's not a good time. You can set up a better time. I used to try so many different ways of doing it. I'd call and set an appointment. People don't show up. What I found, the thing that works the absolute best, is going in and interrupting their day. Now, I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but people like to be interrupted. What can I say? I've sold a ton of magazine ads doing it that way, and I promise you that's the best way to do it, hands down. Now, COVID, right? That's a big concern these days, and making sure that people are not scared when you walk in. The first thing you should do when you walk in and you're speaking to the owner, say, hey, listen, I want to make sure that you feel safe talking to me. I have been vaccinated, or don't. If you haven't been vaccinated, don't even bring it up. But if you have been vaccinated, let them say, hey, listen, I have been vaccinated, but I do want to keep social distancing just in case, to make sure that everybody's okay. And that will make them feel more comfortable with you, because automatically you're thinking about them. Now, like I said, it's about consistency. So keep going, right? Door after door after door after door. And I promise you, you will sell magazine ads. And if you don't, send me an email. We'll figure out what went wrong. But what I want you to know is the biggest thing about selling anything door to door is you have to come in looking the part. You spent the time to put together this digital magazine or this print magazine, and it's going to look fantastic because you're going to take the time to do it right. But you can't come in looking halfway either. You need to come in fully dressed like you're trying to make a sale. If jeans and a t-shirt is your look, you need to have your t-shirt fully pressed and your jeans fully starched. You need to be walking in with your hair done. If you're a lady and you want to wear makeup, put your makeup on. You need to come in looking the part, because here's the thing. You're selling a magazine. A magazine comes from a world of setting the trend on what style and beauty looks like. So you have to come in looking like you just stepped out of a magazine. And if you don't, well, it's going to be hard to sell ads. So go in, dress to the nines, come in with your presentation on your A game, and make sure that when you go in, that you're only talking to the decision maker. Sometimes you get in there, there's a gatekeeper there, and they'll say, oh, no, we don't want to talk to you about all this. Just say, hey, listen, I'm here to talk to the person who signs the checks. Is that you? And then, no, that's not me. Okay, well, let me talk to that person. You don't have to be rude about it, but you also need to be direct. You got to tell people, hey, listen, I'm here to talk to the person that makes the decisions about advertising. Is that you? And if they say, no, but what do you have? I can take it to them and say, you know what? I'm not trying to be rude to you, but I really would like to explain this one time, if that's okay. And I'm more than happy to have you be in the room, but I just need to talk to the person who actually is the one who makes this decision, because I got a lot of people I'm trying to see, and I need to make sure I'm talking to the right people. And I'm sure you can completely understand if you were in my position. And that'll help you get the door open. Now, sometimes you might get the door slammed in your face, but that's part of being an entrepreneur, right? So if you have any questions, shoot me an email. I'm happy to answer it. Black Girl Magic, I apologize that this video is taking so long, but here it is. See ya.